Hello, I'm Ed and welcome back to another episode of Bilk. We're back at round 4 of the Ginetta GT Academy Championship at Silverstone. If you were to ask anyone, especially those who are not into cars or motorsport, to name a famous racetrack, 9 times out of 10, they're going to call this place by name. This 3.6 mile long ribbon of motor racing perfection has played host to the Formula One British Grand Prix almost every year since 1950. Some of the most legendary names in global motorsport have danced around this incredible facility, all in the pursuit of that momentous accolade, a podium at Silverstone. But enough nostalgia. I was a first-year rookie and I was here to race. The buzz around the paddock was tantalising. To add to the occasion, a piece of kit that I'd been eagerly waiting for had also arrived, though the delivery had taken a very long time indeed.
One thing that I wanted to explain to everyone is order your race suit well in advance. It has taken till round 4 for this to actually arrive. I'm super pleased with it. It's great, it's lovely, it fits perfect, the design's wonderful, it looks very sleek and I'm really happy with it. But I had a real struggle. It was a battle to even get it. I mean, I messaged them a few days before the first round. I said, my race suit hasn't been delivered. And I genuinely got the response of, what race suit? I've got this today, I'm using it, but then after that, there's only 1 round left. So I just wanted to touch on that because I think it's a really important thing. I think it would be very useful for anyone who's thinking of becoming a racing driver. Get these things organised.
"12 races in, 3 race events down, but nothing had prepared me for the sheer size of the British touring car race weekend. The Ginetta GT Academy is usually a support event for the British GT Championship race weekends. However, at Silverstone, we would be supporting a round of the British Touring Car Championship, one of the UK's most popular motorsport series. Although Ginetta had streamed previous GTA races on YouTube, we had been told that Sunday's final race of the round was going to be broadcast live on ITV4. I was determined to put on a good show for the TV cameras, not just for my friends and family, but also for any potential sponsors who may be watching. I was already very familiar with the Silverstone circuit, having completed many laps in testing and in the sim, and also just a few weeks earlier in the awesome LMP3. So I was confident I could get round this track quickly. However, in the season so far, I had struggled to convert my pace into any sort of decent qualifying time. I knew that if I was to have any chance of stepping foot on that legendary podium, this time I needed to qualify well. I needed a strategy. Based on the fact that we were mid-summer, and despite the lingering fog, it was anticipated that the track would get hot. So, these road tyres were going to go off quickly. James suggested that once on track, my second lap would be the best opportunity to get the fastest time, as the tyres will have warmed up, but not yet gone past their best. Knowing this, it was all about positioning. The plan was to get to the holding area early. This would mean that I could be one of the first out on track. It was such a good idea, it appeared that everyone had had the same one. We were held for a long time due to the fog, and then we were away. Remembering my strategy, I didn't want to warm the tyres up too much on the outlap, so they were as cool as possible for my second. I gingerly made my way around the outlap to make sure I was backing up the group behind me to have maximum room to attack this first lap. I lined up my exit at Lovefield and opened the taps. My first corner was tidy but very slow. I was going to have to make it up on the rest of the lap. By the time I was under the bridge, I was a tenth and a half down on my own delta, my fastest recorded lap to date. In my desperation to make this lap count, I brake way too late into Brooklands. I was all over the place on the exit, setting me up completely wrong for Luffield. And whilst my late braking had now put me 3/10 up, my exit was compromised. As a result, I lost my composure, and the next lap started terribly again. At Luffield Corner, Sean Fleming had spun, resulting in Toby Trice taking avoiding action to miss him and ending up in the gravel. A bad result for Toby meant an opportunity for me. I spent the next few laps trying to put something decent together, to little avail. I made a judgment at this point to come in and cool the tyres. Having been told by James that I was currently running in P7 and knowing myself that I hadn't even really done a clean lap yet, I was desperate to get it right and show my true potential. My outlap again was slow and steady. Then I went for do or die. I got my lap down by 5/10. Then the next lap another 3/10. And then finally a whopping 9/10 overall on my previous fastest lap. I had one last cool-down lap and let everybody pass me. I let my teammate, Tom Hartley Jr. through, who was finishing a fast lap of his own. I lined up my final lap of the session, then it was hell for leather. At the exit of turn 1, Tom returned the favour and let me through as he could see I was coming in hot. Almost 2/10 up on my previous best, this was the one. With a great entry into Brooklands and a nicely timed exit to Luffield, I was almost another 2/10 up on my previous best. The lap was everything I could do. This had been my best qualifying session of the season. The planning had all paid off, and I would be starting on the grid P5. I was elated and gave a shimmy across the line to my coach to let him know that I was happy with my time. I was truly grateful to my teammate Tom for letting me through on my flyer. I was also delighted for my buddy and fellow rookie Angus, who had qualified on pole.
So happy with that. Finally got a good quality. I'm absolutely over the moon. We had mixed conditions. It was probably the most excitable qualifying session we've had so far this season. But the main thing that happened in qualifying was that there was a yellow flag, double wave yellows. Effectively, Toby Trice, championship leader in the pro category, he went off and into the gravel, binned it. I think he got his 3 laps and he qualified like overall P7, so he's behind me. But the fact of the matter is, that ballsed up the qualifying session because everybody was sort of, do we still do qualifying laps? Because he's binned it right on the exit of the turn. So from that point of view, we can't go hell for leather because we're risking being accused of being dangerous. It's yellow flags, we should be a bit calmer. So it was a weird one. I'm in P5 overall, which puts me rookie P2. The only person who's ahead of me is Angus Whiteside, who is the rookie championship leader. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for it. And right now, I want to have a coffee. I want to enjoy and relax for a moment, feeling good about the fact that I did a finally good qualifying. And yeah, we'll catch back up, I guess, close to race time.
As we completed our green flag lap and pulled onto the start-finish straight, the tension in the cockpit was palpable. I was focused on a good start, to get off the line well and build on the gap to the rookies that were just behind me, who were known to be fast racers, Gilbert Yates and Darren Leong. After making a complete mess of that plan, my attention turned to damage control. But as luck would have it, with Lifeline 1 being used up before the exit of turn 1, I did my best not to make any more drastic cock-ups before we got round to find what I assume would be the safety car in front of us. The safety car seemed to go on for an eternity, But I was grateful to have a breather from needing to defend my position from the much more experienced racers behind me. The blue and yellow car of my teammate and good friend Gilbert Yates had the target on its back next. Gilbert was a rookie, and there was the potential for me to become P1 in the rookie class, even if I had slipped down the overall order. The promise of that P1 rookie class podium was becoming lasered into my mind, and I was really doing all that I could to get past Gilbert. And then, in that moment, I decided I was going to run to the shop and buy a lottery ticket after this race, as it was obviously my lucky day. However, whilst I was getting carried away thinking about my numbers coming up, Gilbert capitalised on my lack of concentration and took back P1. Still, it was fun while it lasted. After a friendly exchange of paint trying to get back P1, I resigned myself to my fate in P2. A few laps later, that winning lottery ticket seemed to be getting further and further into the distance, as another mistake in the same corner let Darren Leung through. So, race 1, P3. That is a podium at Silverstone, something I had only ever dreamed about that had now actually come to fruition. As a result of that amazing qualifying, even my rubbish start and rookie mistakes throughout the race still resulted in a podium. I could not have been more delighted. Unfortunately, due to the spread out nature of this massive paddock, even our handy scooters did not get the film team over to the podium in time for the celebrations.
I want to take a bit of time to explain what happened in the last race. I got a terrible start off the line, bogged down the wheels, I was into like second gear all over the place, it was a nightmare. The first turn on the first lap, there was a pretty almighty accident. 3-4 cars were involved, no one was injured, but it meant that pretty much the majority of the first quarter of the entire race was just under yellow flag, under the safety car. But it was a bit of relief because it allowed me a moment to just calm down and just settle behind the safety car, keeping the tyres warm and making sure I was ready to go and sprint as soon as it was done. As a result, I actually had a pretty decent race. I battled through and I got myself up to rookie P1, so I was super happy. So that was 4th place overall in the race. My tyres were going off and I didn't really cope that well with the harsh turn braking that we've got at Brooklands. As a result, I lost the P1 position for the rookies and I went all the way back down to P3. Still got a podium, still got a lovely trophy and covered myself in champagne. I can still smell it now on me. It's all the champagne still on, it's the same suit. But it was a pretty eventful race. I'm super excited for race 2. This is a longer race, 22 laps instead of 16. And in the race before, the tyres were going off well before the end of the race. So the fact that we've now got a longer race means I've got to conserve the tyres for even longer to try and make sure that I stay on the track all the way around. So I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to get back out there now and just keep building on where we got to. What I'm doing now is I am awaiting confirmation that the gearbox is going to be in and okay for the next race. We've got about 15 minutes. They're still working on the gearbox. It's up on the jacks, all the bodywork's off, the car is in pieces, and they're still trying to sort out this gearbox. Because during the race, I actually lost a couple of positions because the gearbox stayed in 3rd gear all the way down the straight. I should have been up to about 6th, and it was just in 3rd. I couldn't go any faster. It was unbearable. Eventually, it kicked into 4th, and I got round the rest of it, and then it sorted itself out. But it had like a momentary weird electronic issue, which put me all the way down the grid again, which was very frustrating. Yeah, I forgot to mention, this is the behind the scenes, by the way. This is where us drivers get changed and hang our helmets and dry off our fireproof under suit stuff when we're not racing and when we're just sort of sitting around waiting. And it's a great little area actually, just away from everyone, where you can just have a bit of private time, a bit of quiet time, which is definitely needed. It's been a pretty hectic morning and afternoon already. Tom's
finisher.
Here. You might
Third place man.
You might remember Tom Hartley from our supercar video not too long ago.
And he was leading. You took over.
I did.
You took lead of the rookies.
I got the rookie P1 and then I ballsed it up.
Yeah. He got all excited. He was thinking about the winning speech, and then he just got a little bit.
I definitely got way too excited, but yeah, as you can tell, everybody's coming back in now to get changed, so we really should wrap up and get moving.
Am I allowed to take all my gear off now? Or?
Yeah, you can strip if you want. We'll play the What's It music. What's it called?
I am going commando though. Right.
Jesus, nobody wants to see that. Right, okay, we'll catch up with you guys in a bit.
However, Race 2's importance was now more tangible than ever, as the result would determine my starting position for Race 3. So I wanted to see how much higher I could get, and also make up for that horrendous start in the previous race. Better, but still not great. However, being further back than the lead pack, I got myself a great exit and caught up straight away out of turn 1. I let the lead cars ahead of me battle away for position into turn 2 while I planned my exit. Then Gilbert decided to go rallying and take Wes Pearce and Roy Alderslade for a ride with him. My perfectly timed running away from the scrap allowed me to get the drop on Tom Holland. This meant I'd finish the first lap in P3 overall, which would mean I was potentially in a position to finish on my first ever overall podium, which in turn meant I would be starting the next race in P3 on the grid. I was happy and settled into a defensive drive for the majority of the race. But that got boring very quickly, so I went after Martin Wills. This really turned into one of my favourite races of the season so far. Battling for that overall P2 with Martin was just great fun. All the practice that James Kellett had me doing in attacking and defending paid off. I pulled a move in the defence of my position, called a switchback. You allow the attacking driver through, but force them into a compromised line so that you can get them back straight away on the exit and retain the position. It worked a treat. Unfortunately, a few laps later on, Tom was wise to my plan. And that was that. I had missed out on my first ever overall podium. But on the lighter side, I really was starting race 3 of the weekend on a higher grid position than I had ever been before. P4!
Really good fun. Edward Akers, well done, Edward. Congratulations. You can get a big cheer. Edward climbs on step number 2 on the podium. Shot photographer getting the...
That was one hell of a race. That was my favourite race of the season so far. There was a bit of drama in the first turn and I ended up P3 overall. So there was Angus, championship leader for rookies. There was Martin Wills, who's known to be a very fast driver, and then me. I made some mistakes. The tyres started going off. I was slipping, I was sliding. Tom Holland caught me. And then eventually, he managed to get the slipstream on me and got past me. Then I got him straight back, so it was tussling backwards and forwards for P4 and P3 all the way through the race. It was so much fun. So I've ended up P2 in rookies, and I was P4. Was it P4? P4 overall. So what that means is that I start tomorrow's race the highest I've ever started a race, which is P4 on the grid. As long as we can get through the first 2 corners, we're on for a good result as well.
With my confidence sky high off the last 2 races, I got down to the track as soon as the sun rose.
It's been a sort of relatively calm morning today. The sun's out a little bit. It's very, very busy in the paddock, so that's going to be interesting. The car was an absolute dream after the race yesterday, so there wasn't really much to do last night, I don't think. A few battle wounds, but nothing that can't be done with a bit of duct tape. Very much looking forward to this race 3. I just really, really hope for me this is all about getting off the line well, and I've got to get a good start into turn 1, and that's going to be my plan for this 3rd race. One thing about race weekends that I sort of have learned over the last few weekends and events that we've been doing is actually quite a nice little thing. I've actually got my podium trophies and my caps and the champagne that I won as a result of the races. It's quite common for everybody to sort of display them on top of their cars so that when people are walking past they can see who's won and things like that. It's actually just a really nice little touch, and it's something I've not done before, so I'm super excited to even be able to do that. I like it, it's good fun.
Knowing that for the first time, my racing was going to be broadcast across the entirety of the United Kingdom, my iWatch was showing my heart rate at 120 beats per minute. I just had to get at least one decent start this weekend. I did it! I finally got a good start! I even managed to close the gap on Martin Wills in the Pink Panther-mobile, until Toby Trice decided to give me a polite tap to let me know he was there. The resulting wide line put me on the back foot to defend from Toby into the hairpin at turn 2, which had been my nemesis all weekend long. After a conscious decision not to battle with Toby, I was conscious of maintaining my P2 rookie position and get on that podium in front of all of those ITV4 cameras. Beyond that, race 3 became relatively uneventful, and for the first time in my racing career, it was all about maintaining rookie position. Until a mistake. Dipping the left wheel into the gravel resulted in Roy Alderstone, another non-rookie driver, getting through at the end of the following straight into that infamous Copse Corner. Whilst the feeling of losing a place on track was disappointing, I had my driver coach rattling around my head, explaining that it was all about strategy. So I was focused on maintaining that P2 rookie position for championship points. That's what mattered to me. There was no gap now between myself and the next rookie in class, Darren Young. It was all about maintaining pace and speed until the checkered flag saved me. For the first time ever back in the pits, I was greeted by film crews pointing cameras in my face from live TV. After I had my 15 minutes of fame, I was delighted to see Rachel and my friends who had come to greet me before my podium celebrations. This was now the third time I was on the podium this weekend, so it was a clean sweep, 1 P3 and 2 P2s. That filled me with complete pride.
That was literally a race and a battle and a fight all the way through. And this weekend here at Silverstone has been, you know, a lifelong ambition to be able to race at Silverstone racetrack. The idea that that weekend is now complete is just fantastic. The fact that I've took away 3 podiums, I've been on the podium in every race. And the only person who was in front of me in 2 of those races in my rookie category was Angus, who's the championship winner. So I'm so happy with that. What a day, what a weekend. Now I am absolutely desperate to clean myself somehow and then go have a beer, because I am, wow, absolutely dead.
It was amazing to contemplate how much I'd achieved since my very first mixed weekend of racing at Brands Hatch.
Edward Akers, the number 20, buries itself in the gravel trap. That possibly wasn't the smartest thing to do.
Now I was regularly on the podium. A sense that I was improving as a rookie racer, one event at a time, really filled me with confidence. I came away from this weekend at this legendary circuit having learnt a huge amount about racecraft, strategy, and the overall importance of getting a great qualifying to set you up for a weekend of success. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give us a thumbs up and smash that like button. And also, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon. But for now, from myself, Ed, and all the team at Bilk, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.